Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and yes, continuing on with Musical Movie Week. That's right, you read the title, you know what the next musical movie it is that I'm reviewing, straight from Disney, and this being live action, and what started out not doing so good, and at the time it was a bad Disney live action musical until years later it became popular, and a lot of people, you know, and a generation would not let go of this one live action Disney musical. And even as of now, because, you know, it has its Broadway show, and I recall, like, over at Disney's California Adventure, there's a little bit of it there, if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's right. From 1992, it's Newsies. Yes, Newsies. Wow, I gotta say, this, for me, because I finally had gotten to seen it / watch it, yes. And I gotta say, I think this is a pretty good, decent live-action Disney film. I mean, decent? I mean, would that be the correct word to say it? I mean, I guess, like, the movie itself, maybe not the best, and, I mean, probably not right up there next to, say, other great live-action Disney musicals. Oh, like, say, Mary Poppins, Enchanted, what else? I mean, but it's not that bad, and it's a shame because at that time, because it was a disaster. Really? I mean, is it really that much of a disaster and such for the audiences of 1992? I'm just saying. And the main guy who did the original music and songs for Newsies, good old Alan Menken, because he stated this one time, and, you know, and probably a couple of other times, like when he's been at D23 and talking about Newsies and singing some of the songs, nobody wanted to see it, you know, according to Alan Menken. And unfortunately, because, well, it didn't do that well at the box office, and advertisements were being pulled from Newsies, like unplugged is another good way to put at it. And clearly, because even Alan Menken, he mentioned Jeffrey Katzenberg and had a little conversation with Katzenberg about Newsies and how, you know, how good this movie was and such. And clearly Katzenberg being involved of, you know, advertisements being pulled away and such for Newsies, no doubt about it. I mean, take, for example, advertisements and promos and so on being pulled for The Rescuers Down Under. That's another good example. It's really a shame, and no doubt about it, because clearly with those advertisements being pulled, that's what made Newsies a box office disaster and nobody wanting to see it. Probably so, yeah, I think that sounds about right. And like I said, a generation who would not let go of this one live-action Disney musical, and look at it as of today. And like I said, and, you know, it has its Broadway show now, and well, because even like footage and such of the Broadway show, like it's made it. I know probably it's made its way to DVD as well as Disney Plus. I've seen it there. Even like a little like street show at Disney's California Adventure, as I mentioned. Yeah. So yeah, it's great to see, because how much love and appreciation Newsies has gotten these days. Yeah, and with the movie itself, like I said, you know, I've finally gotten to see it and watch it. I really thought this was pretty good and decent. And if that is the correct word to use, one of those words to use, decent, you know, like I said. Yeah, I mean, with the songs and where the story was going, and the fact that this was based on a true story, because this did happen. This did happen in New York City of 1899? Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, it's really interesting, and for an actual story, for what happened to a group of, you know, Newsies, boys selling newspapers and such, and for it being turned into a musical, why not? Why not? Okay, but anyways, enough said. As always, read the description / the story. In this musical, homeless New York City newsboy Jack Cowboy Kelly befriends two newcomers to his trade, brothers Dave and Les Jacobs, when publisher Joseph Pulitzer, I think I might be saying the last name right or wrong, I don't know, sets new rules that make it harder for the young newspaper salesman to make a buck, the boys go on strike. Brian Denton, a journalist who's sympathetic to their plight, if I'm saying that right, gives them some tips in public relations as the newsboys battle grips the city. Okay, so Newsies itself. So with this actually happening based off of true events in New York City of 1899, because we see, in New York, these newsmen, because, getting up in the morning and preparing to, sell newspapers and such, and, of course, song numbers here and there, and little do they know, because, I hate when IMDb does this, Joseph Pulitzer, played by the legendary Robert Duvall, because, basically they are, they're trying to figure out how to make money and such. And he's that kind of bad guy, because Robert Duvall's character is, one of the main antagonists of this film, and he's one of those villains, trying to make money and so on. And them just, trying to figure out what to do and how to make money and figure it out and such by tonight, according to Joseph. And we also have some of the other main characters, the main character of this movie, Jack Kelly, played by the one and only Christian Bale, whom 3 years later after doing this, he would be in another Disney film on the side of animation, which being Pocahontas. And fast forward 13 years later, he would become the next Batman. Yeah, so before he was Batman, he was he was a newsboy, a singing newsboy, need I say. And then, of course, we have two other main characters, the Jacobs brothers. David Jacobs, played by David Moscow, and his little brother, Les Jacobs, played by a young Luke Edwards. And I'm pretty sure, because David Moscow and Luke Edwards, I've probably seen them in other movies. I mean, their names sound familiar, so... And we also get other newsboys on this, and basically, Jack Kelly is, their leader, basically. We also have Racetrack Higgins, played by young Max Casella. Now, Max Casella, he has that face, a young Max Casella. He has that face where it's you've seen that face before, and I know I have, so I know I've probably seen him in a couple of other films. And there's also Crutchy, who, has a crutch and such, but there are some that think he's faking it, even, two kid assholes, best way to put at him, who give him a hard time and, thinking that he's faking it and such. I'll get to them in a moment, Crutchy being played by Marty Belafiski, if I'm saying that right. Again, you know me sometimes. There's also Boots, played by R.V. Loud Jr., and there's also, Mush, played by Aaron Lohr. I think I got that right. So, okay, and the newspaper place, the place that they work at, and basically, getting the newspapers and handing them out and so on, and one of the one guy who's running it and such, named, and his actual name being Mr. Wisely, but they call him Weasel, and that's how he's credited. That's what I'm looking at, Weasel, and he's played by Michael Lerner. I know Michael Lerner. I've seen him before. And his two nephews, his two nephews, as I just said, being the two kid assholes, Oscar Delancey and Morris Delancey. Oscar being played by Sean Greenblatt, and Morris being played by David Shenka. however you pronounce that last name. Again, you know me sometimes. Yeah, and so them selling newspapers, and like newspapers at that time, like just weird like headlines, like baby born with 2 or 3 heads, that kind of stuff, and Jack meeting with the Jacobs brothers, and they join in the newspaper business, selling and handing out newspapers. And at one point when they join Jack selling newspapers and so on, well, Jack is spotted by another antagonist, one of the other antagonists of this movie, Snyder, being played by Kevin Tye. And he basically runs the refuge. In other words, it's a jail. He has his eyes on Jack, and there's a lot of Jack that, at first us audience don't know that much, and that goes for the Jacobs brothers, and as well as, Jack's fellow newsmen. So, them getting chased, well, they're going after Jack, of course, and, well, they hide out at this saloon, I want to say, and that's when they meet with Meta Larkson, played by Anne Margaret, and Jack knows Meta, and her getting to meet the Jacobs brothers, and they hide out for a little while until later that evening because, David offers Jack to, spend the night at their family's home and such, and, even Jack was planning to go back to where he lives and such with his fellow newsmen, but there's a fire and, just fighting and such going on, and, because Jack now has to, tag along with the Jacobs back at their home. And that's when we see the rest of the Jacobs family. We have Mayer and Esther. Yeah. Mayer, and that is spelled as, Mayer, and not to be confused, he's not the mayor with an O, okay? So, the father being played by Jeffrey DeMunn, if I'm saying that right, and the mother, Esther, being played by Deborah Lee Furness, if I'm saying that right, again, you know me. The boy's father has a sling. His arm is wounded, and because the factory and such that he works at, and David, according to David, telling this to Jack, is there was an accident and he's unable to work, and so David, and along with his little brother, trying to get work and make money and such, and because they signed up for being 2 newsmen, so, and until their father is all healed up and better, he'll go back to work, and according to their father, telling David that, he'll go back and finish school. And we also have the Jacobs brothers' sister, Sarah Jacobs, being played by Elle Keats, I think I'm probably getting that right. And it doesn't take too long for, Sarah and Jack to lay eyes on one another. And even I knew, because when they first saw each other, and when he met the family and such, and when Jack was being introduced to the rest of the family, and when it came to Sarah, and when they laid eyes on each other, I knew right away that, oh yeah, they're gonna be the 2 lovebirds of this movie. So, and I'm sure you guys probably knew that too. So, so Jack, he later on, he doesn't stay, he doesn't intend on staying that long, and, just going back to where he was, where his fellow newsmen are. Also, one moment where he was talking to the Jacobs family about, the newspaper business, and, these news and reports on these newspapers, even Sarah asking Jack about the reports and so on, what it's like, the business of being a newsman and with newspapers. So there you go. And basically, Jack, he does mention this early on, because, he tells the Jacobs brothers about, the whereabouts of his parents and looking for a new home and such. And once they do find a new home, I think like in Mexico, Texas, and they would bring their son, bring their son up into to the new home and such where they're living at. So basically, Jack, he's dreaming of leaving for Santa Fe. Yeah, I almost didn't see it, but yeah, Santa Fe, and a song number about Santa Fe. But I'll get to the song numbers a little bit later, so I'll save them after I talk about the story and such. So what happens next, and to speed things up because, with, Robert Duvall's character, the main guy running, New York and such, and along with a couple of others, by his side, let me see, because, who are let me look and see, because, I'm pretty sure, aside from Robert Duvall, because there was his butler, and there was a couple of others, trying to figure out what to do, and how to make money and such. And by doing so, they're thinking of, laying off the newsmen, but then, then I think, and it occurs to Joseph, raise the price of newspapers and such, and for the newsmen. And boy, do the newsboys, I should say, the Newsies, which that's what they're called. Boy, do they not like the sign of this. Do they not like what's going on? And with a couple of song numbers happening, and they basically go on strike, and they will stop at nothing to get Joseph's attention and all the others who made a dick move, I should say, raising the price and, for causing them to go on strike. Even their attempts to break into, where they worked at, even though they're on strike, to break in and just, cause wreckage and so on, a mess of newspapers. And this also, this gets the attention of someone who works at the New York Sun, which being Brian Denton, being played by good old Bill Pullman. Him interacting with David Jacobs, and along with Jack and Les, and even at one point, because, Jack's plans for him and his fellow newsmen is to go around different parts of New York and to get the attention and to bring together all of the other newsies, so, they know about this, and with all of them together, they can really go at it and so on. And, hopefully word can be spread out, and, something can be done about this, and the price can go down, and they can no longer be on strike. And one place that they're not sure about going, I'm pretty sure, and that's Brooklyn, because at Brooklyn lies someone, the main leader of those group of newsies in Brooklyn, Spot Conlon. Spot Conlon. Jack, he coaches and gives them courage to go there, and because he'll go with them. But first, Jack, and he has Les tag along with him, confronting Joseph. But that, of course, doesn't go so well. And what they were able to do, because you tell Joseph that I want to speak to him and so on, according to Jack. And for Brian, because he gives them their card because he's interested on this and maybe he can help out. Seems like it. And so to speed things up some more, because, at one point, because, they go to Brooklyn and coming face to face with, in Brooklyn, the Newsies there, their leader, Spot Conlon, being played by Gabriel Damon. Now, Gabriel Damon, he looks familiar. I know I've probably seen him in other movies, so yeah. Just his face, He almost kind of looks like, I don't know, he reminds me of a couple of other actors, but anyways. So, Spot Conlon, he's not sure about this, and he wants to know if, Jack is telling the truth and so on, even, David Jacobs, standing up and saying something to Spot, and, Well, because it seems like probably, Spot will join them. And, because at one point, because, yeah, 2 or 3 times that this happens, where they break into where they worked at and just causing a mess of newspapers and such, and, just trashing the place and so on. Even when, other workers there on, working there, like, they're on the side of, Weasel, and they basically confront them. And yeah, at one point, because it was a trap, and because we see that Spot Conlon stepping in, and his newsmen from Brooklyn, they step in and they help out. And yeah, so... And they seem to be doing pretty good, and just, they are succeeding at taking on Weasel and all the other workers working for him. But at one point, they scram because the police show up. But unfortunately, one of them is still there, and it was too late for him, and that being Crutchy. Poor Crutchy. Yeah, he gets caught by Weasel's 2 nephews, and, he's thrown into the refuge, I'm having trouble saying that word, but it's the jail, okay? So getting thrown in the jail, where all the other, boys are. Obviously, there are other, newsboys, Newsies, that is, fellow Newsies, and at one point, because, Jack and along with, David, them trying to get Crutchy out of there. And also, here's another thing about Jack Kelly, because his dream of going to Santa Fe, sorry, and him acting like a cowboy, because he's got a little bit of clothing and such, even a cowboy hat, and acting like a cowboy, and him wearing that cowboy hat on his head when trying to break out Crutchy. And because when they successfully get to the window where he's at, unfortunately, Crutchy, he's not really able, and he doesn't want to be rescued because, of how badly Weasel's, 2 nephews beat him and so on. But I mean, of course, eventually, he would get out of there. Excuse me. And so, and to speed things up, Jack Kelly and his fellow newsmen doing whatever they can, and they won't stop to basically succeed on no longer being on strike, and to get back to Jacob, and to speed things up some more, because at one point, Brian, he does take a picture of them, because they do succeed at one point, and they're the story of the situation of the Newsies to be spread out, hopefully, and and also there is one moment between Jack and Sarah, like a very cute moment and such, and even because Jack does bring up to Sarah about his, about Santa Fe and so on. And also, back to the bad guys, because, because this, of course, one of the other main antagonists, because, Snyder, because, he finds out and well aware of Jack Kelly, and, because apparently he knows a lot of Jack Kelly, and, with him trying to get him back in the refuge, aka the jail, he knows his real name, and, the first name is slipped out at one point, Sullivan. And Snyder is in the same room with Joseph and a couple of others, including Mayor Robert Van Wyck, being played by Ryan McDonald, and Chief of Police Devery, played by Frank Garatio, if I'm saying that right, and all the others, because, there's Baleth, being played by Terry Cole, and Captain McSwain, being played by Shay Duffin, and Bunsen, being played by Tom Finnegan. They find out, and thanks to Snyder, because about Jack Kelly, and they are planning to go after and to get Jack Kelly. And did they have this planned? Because when things are looking pretty good for, the Newsies, and they're even celebrating, even at one point, because they're at that, saloon, I want to say, yeah, and where, Meta Larkson is performing. And by the way, because how Jack knows of Meta Larkson, because, yeah, he mentions to David, because, Meta, is a friend of his father's. His father being friends with Meta. So that's how, Jack knows of Meta. So, no, of course, that's another song number during the saloon and such. And, because little do they know, because Snyder, and along with the New York policemen there, in that part of New York, they are planning to, go in and to capture Jack Kelly. And even Brian notices Snyder's there and is trying to distract Snyder, like, "You're Snyder, aren't you?" and shaking his hand, and "Mind if I take your picture?" And even Jack's fellow Newsies, even David, noticing Snyder and alerting Jack. And because even when after Brian took a flash picture of Snyder and Jack trying to make a break for it, that's when the policemen they show up and they tackle some of the Newsies, but of course they're going after Jack. And in the end, they do succeed, and it was bound to happen. They do capture Jack, and because at the court, and the judge being played by, Judge Move Along Moana, I don't even know if I'm saying the last name right, but yeah, Judge Move Along, that's a funny name. Judge Move Along being played by William Boyett. I think, I got that right. Basically, Snyder revealing a lot, and basically, revealing the truth about Jack, because throughout most of the film, Jack told a lot of lies to the Jacobs brothers on who he is and so on, and his parents. His mother is deceased, and his father, I think, is in jail and such. There's even a mentioning of Governor Theodore Roosevelt, and at one point, because Jack mentioned that he, saw and was right there with Governor Roosevelt, I guess, riding on a carriage or train, I want to say. So he saw, who would be 2 years later the next president of the United States. So there's a mentioning of that. That Jack brought up at one point in the film, and Snyder revealing his real full name, Sullivan Francis, I believe, and with what he's done and so on, and the Jacobs brothers, they're devastated to hear about this, and and thus he's thrown in to, the jail, that is, the refuge. And things are just really not looking that good for the Newsies, and now that their leader is now in jail. Not to mention, because Brian, because I think, what he was him taking a picture of what happened and when they were celebrating, I think that's what it was, and, because, he was unsuccessful, and he was reassigned to a different part of newspaper business, unfortunately. Poor Brian. And Brian, he left David something for him to read that was going to be a part of the planned headline/newspaper that he was going to do with the Newsies, to hopefully for sure get out there and their problems would be solved. And he leaves it for David, and whenever he wants to read it. So a quote and so on. That was going to be in the, planned newspaper headline. So, and to speed things up some more, because, David and all the others, they are, of course, going to plan on breaking Jack out. And at one point, they happen to see that Jack is being transported on a carriage to, meet with Joseph. And what happens is that Joseph, because when Jack meets with Joseph and, David, he snuck and was riding on the back of the carriage, well, when Jack goes in to meet with Joseph, Joseph is basically offering him a chance to be released and set free if he works under for him and with Weasel, obviously, and he can get money and so on, and possibly, you know, for him, making his way to Santa Fe. And Jack is not liking this at first, and if Jack doesn't cooperate, and if he does anything, he will be thrown back into jail. And, well, because, you know, Jack, he has no choice by this point, and also he wants to keep his fellow newsmen / newsies, you know, protected, and so nothing bad would happen to them. And so when Jack is about to be transported back to the jail, well, because good old David, because he actually detached the carriage from the horse, and, well, he alerts Jack, and they make a run for it, and even when the coachman, like, you know, yeah, because, well, the horse, you know, riding off, and without the carriage, so, and the coachman, like, just, he fell off, so, and Snyder is told that, well, Jack has nowhere to go. He's told by that. Someone tells him that, and I think by Sights, I'm pretty sure, yeah, Sights. Sights being played by Charles Ciothe, if I'm saying that right, yeah, I'm sorry, I almost forgot to mention him. Yeah, Sights, if I'm even saying that right. And there's a Z instead of an S at the end, okay? And so David and Jack, they're making a run for it, but Jack, he's refusing to, you know, to go with David some more. And, you know, he just wants to keep everyone safe, and especially the Jacobs family, because, well, Joseph threatening Jack about the Jacobs family, and he doesn't want anything bad happening to them, and especially for the girl that of the Jacobs family that he's in love with, obviously. So he, you know, he wants to keep everybody safe from his fellow Newsies and, of course, the Jacobs family. And, you know, the parents, they're hardly in this. They're only there for one sequence, and that's it. Throughout the rest of the film, it's just the Jacobs brothers and their sister, Sarah. So, yeah. So, again, Jack wanted to keep them safe, and, you know, couldn't he have not told them? Because, you know, all of them just get upset over Jack, and even when they're still on strike, and they're outside of the end of the entrance to where the newspapers are made and, you know, handed off to the Newsies, well, they can see that Jack is working there in this, like, fancy suit, and even at times being threatened by Weasel, as they call him. Like, you know, you move a finger or do anything, you pull a move, and it's back to jail, and so on. And his fellow Newsies, you know, they are upset and they feel betrayed. But good old Les, he feels that that's probably not the case, and that he's tricking them and so on. Like, Jack is tricking, you know, Joseph and the others. And to speed things up, because at one point back at the Jacobs house, like, Sarah, you know, noticed something, because she turned to her young brother, Les, because apparently he was hiding, like, a hot dog or something to eat, I don't know, and, like, under the hot dog as such, like, where it was, the piece of food was wrapped, it was, well, what Brian handed over to David, and Sarah reading it out, but David, he doesn't want to hear any of it. And at one point, we see Sarah, because at one point, those stupid, you know, two nephews, Weasel's nephews, they just start to harass and, you know, just tackle Sarah, even Les and David standing up for, of course, standing up for their sister, but things just get out of hand. And then we see Jack, well, he's delivering newspapers, and he does hear this, and he can hear Sarah's voice, and, well, you know, he knows what he has to do, you know, stop those two brothers, the nephews of Weasel, and yeah, and of course, even with David helping out as well, when he's able to help out thanks to Jack, and, well, because, you know, obviously they're going to inform their uncle about this, and, well, now they're back together, and Jack helping out the Jacobs, and then they go and they they turned to Brian, because he was packing up and such, and, well, they did finally read what Brian lended them, and, well, now they now start to plan on doing something about this now, and, well, because how are they going to spread the word about this? Well, by privately and, sneaking to where they can print out the papers and such behind Joseph and Weasel, everybody's backs. So they sneak down and, well, they start to print out the newspapers and handing them to the Newsies, Jack's fellow Newsies. And yeah, I think, yeah, because it doesn't take them too long to realize, like, Jack, like, didn't betray them and such, obviously they knew, and they were told. So yeah, the word is spread. The word is spread about this finally, and good on Brian's part, because he informs Governor Theodore Roosevelt. We get to see Theodore Roosevelt in this, and Theodore Roosevelt being played / betrayed by David James Alexander. And yeah, he was pretty good. A not bad choice to play / portray Theodore Roosevelt. And again, keep in mind, because this film taking place in 1899, 2 years before Theodore Roosevelt would become the next president. So yeah. So he was already a powerful man, and a good man, of course. So this finally gets the attention of Theodore Roosevelt. Of course, yeah, he's very happy that this got to him, and he now knows, and like, what's coming up, like, and what Theodore's going to do about this, because you don't mess with Theodore. Because what happens next is back in New York, and in that one location of New York where the Newsies are at, because they're not sure if it's working, if like Theodore was informed and such. And, well, sure enough, they start to hear a crowd, a bunch of other Newsies, including those from Brooklyn. Yep, we see them, of course. And so, yeah, the word has finally been spread out on what's been going on with these group of Newsies and with the price going up and such, yeah. And all of them standing outside of that building where Joseph is, and, well, Jack and David, them entering and, confronting Joseph once again, getting him to listen and so on, and to, reason, and even, like, at one point, Jack opens the windows up for Joseph, and, he can just hear it and, like, quiet, go home to your moms and dads, but by this point, there's nothing else he can do. He's been defeated. So eventually, yeah, Joseph did finally come to terms, and nice to see. And then we see, what happens next is we see that, because Theodore Roosevelt has arrived, and as well as, Snyder being there, and, because in Snyder arriving in this one carriage / coach, and basically, yeah, freeing all of the other Newsies that were put in jail, as well as good old Crutchy. And we see that Snyder, rightfully so, is going to jail. We see him with the cuffs behind, his hands behind his back with the cuffs, and Crutchy interacting with the policeman on Snyder and such, and even giving Snyder a heads up on being in jail, and mentioning about the rats, and it's pretty funny, yeah. Sayonara, Snyder, you got what you deserved. Then we do see Roosevelt there, and now, because everything is looking good for all the Newsies. That is except for Jack, because, well, it seems like, Jack is going to proceed on to his destination, to Santa Fe, taking a ride with Roosevelt to the train station and such, on his way to Santa Fe, Jack that is, and the Newsies, Jack's fellow Newsies, as well as the Jacobs, kids, the two brothers and the sister, they're very upset to see that Jack is leaving. and they don't want him to go, and it seems like it seems like he is going to proceed on. And I had a feeling, and when watching this movie, come on, that was not going to happen. He wasn't going to leave them, and after all they've been throughout this movie and up until now, just yeah. So yeah, now the Newsies, they're now back in business, at work and such, handing out newspapers, and then they hear that Theodore Roosevelt is coming back, and well, Jack, he is staying. Also, almost forgot to mention Brian. He was present, and well, that's when Snyder showed up. So, and he did assure Jack that he no longer had to run and hide from Snyder. So yeah. So Jack was okay on that. And yeah, and with Jack, he's not going to Santa Fe. He's staying right where he is, with his fellow Newsies in New York, and of course with the Jacobs family, and of course with Sarah. And sure enough, they do go for a kiss, and all the other Newsies are like, "Whoa, Jackie boy!" Just it's funny and nice to see, because Jack and Sarah finally together with no trouble whatsoever, and now living happily ever after. And we get one more song number, a reprised song, I should say. And yeah, it's nice how this movie ends, for sure. Yeah, and yeah, just what a great piece of a live action Disney musical this is. Okay, now let's come to the songs. Yeah, because saving those for last. The songs in Newsies, pretty good songs. They're pretty good songs, and again, they're done by Alan Menken. He did the music, and well, the lyrics also being done by Jack Feldman. So carrying the banner, Santa Fe, my lovey-dovey baby, the world will know, seize the day, King of New York, high times, hard times. And there's also another version of Seize the Day, reprise of Santa Fe, Once and for All, The World Will Know, and Carrying the Banner. Yeah, them being reprised and such. The World Will Know and Carrying the Banner. They're all pretty good songs. I don't know if I really have a favorite. I mean, first off, Santa Fe, it was pretty good. Christian Bale, he seems to be a pretty good singer. I can't recall, if I'm not, I don't know, because, hasn't he done other movies where he sang? Probably so. I'll have to look at it, so, and you can let me know in the comments section if you want to, feel free. And The World Will Know, I think that was a pretty good one. Seize the Day, David Moscow sang that song, because, yeah, a moment where David Moscow sang, and, also, one song where, yeah, because, Once and for All, because at that moment where they're finally gonna make newspapers and get them out there, and up till when Brian, played by Bill Pullman, gets this to Theodore Roosevelt, yeah, Once and for All, that was pretty good. And, from Christian Bale, Bill Pullman, David Moscow, and Ellie Keats, who play Sarah, they all got to sing, even though they're not actually singing, we just hear their voices, that kind of thing, so... the reprised versions of The World Will Know and Carrying the Banner, they were pretty good too. And even the songs that were sang by Margaret, they're pretty good too. High Times, Hard Times, where they're celebrating, and that's before Jack is about to be captured. Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah. And Margaret singing it, and the Newsies assemble. Yeah, I think, yeah, the N is silent. So, and yeah, just, these were all really good songs. And there was, one of them did win a Razzie. Oh, that's unfortunate. But according to Alan Menken, he had no problem with it. Yeah, Alan Menken said it himself at one of the D23 expos, that he had no problem when he won a Razzie for worst song of the year from Newsies. There'll be a text of the song number that won a Razzie, for worst song of the year. So again, Alan Menken, he had no problem with it. He thought it was really cool, and he liked it, and I don't think he didn't know what a Razzie statue looked like, wondering what it would look like. Just Like, that's what he did. So, yeah, that'd be kind of funny if, like, tongue sticking out or something. That'd be funny. But it's really a raspberry. Like, you know the Razzies, and you've seen what the Razzie statues look like. Jeez. But seriously, like, none of these songs, including the one that won a Razzie, they're not all that bad. And like I said, this one piece of a live action Disney musical, Newsies, later on, in the later years, and as of now, it's loved by a lot of people, and, well, because it has its Broadway show, and just, yeah, Newsies is a really good piece of a live-action Disney musical. I mean, it may not be up there like say Mary Poppins or Enchanted and all the other great Disney live-action musicals, you know what I mean? But, overall, it's nice to see that in the later years, it turned out to be, popular. It's a shame that it wasn't a success and it wasn't popular at the time when it came out in 1992, but in the end, it found its fans years later, and like Alan Menken said, and as I've said, a generation that would not let go of it, and that's a good thing to see for sure. So yeah, the film itself, the story was pretty good, and again, keep in mind, this musical film, being based off of true events. The characters were pretty good. I found myself, enjoying from, say, Christian Bale, the Jacobs family, and the relationship between Jack and Sarah, and with Bill Pullman, his character. Yeah, good to see, because his character helping out. And, the Newsies from Brooklyn, them helping out as well. Good to see. And Crutchy, yeah, Crutchy being a memorable character in this too. And the bad guys, just some of them, it makes you want to punch them, definitely. Especially Weasel's two dickhead nephews, best way to put it, pardon my French. The songs were pretty good, and some of the action in this, yeah, just everything about Newsies was really good. A really good live-action Disney musical. And I'm giving Newsies, well, I'm giving it, 8 out of 10 stars. Yes, 8 out of 10 stars for Newsies. And what about you guys? What did you think of Newsies itself? Is it one of your favorite live-action Disney musicals? Did any of you, I don't know, any of you get to experience Newsies on stage from Broadway and such? Which is your favorite song? Any of you that really, are big fans of the movie, just, yeah, and with what I've had to say about it. And what did you think of my review? Leave comments and give this review video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Newsies. More review videos are on the way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video / review. And of course, continuing on with Musical Movie Week. So, later this week, the next musical film that I'll be reviewing, well, let's just say, and to best describe it, Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman are in a musical together. I'm pretty sure you know what it is. Stay tuned for that. Take care, and peace out.